All right. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Rip Griffin Show. Tonight we're doing things a little bit different. Normally, the last few weeks, the episode's been baseball related, but tonight we are doing something with a new twist talking fantasy baseball. Excuse me, fantasy football. See, I'm still in the baseball aspect. I need to get out of that mindset and get into the football mindset. So we're talking fantasy football. Did it again. And tonight I'm being joined by Austin Hicks. He's been on the show a couple of times already. He's the owner of the Victoria Armadillos, also part of our fantasy football league. Austin, man, how's it going?
It's going. It's going. How you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good. So this is a new twist for the show, doing something a little bit different, talking some fantasy football. Kind of see what happened last week. We'll kind of talk about that. We'll have a couple guys come back on the show as well as they continue to get situated. Then they'll be joining us here shortly. But first and foremost, how did you do last week?
I think I actually edged by. Let me double check. I think I won by like a point or two. Let me double check.
Yeah, I started out pretty well, and then I got completely annihilated. And I think I may have had the lowest score last week.
Yeah, I won by 1 point. It was just under 2 points.
Okay. So yeah, you definitely did a lot better. I mean, you almost doubled uh your points that you scored, definitely doubled mine, that's for sure. So not a good first week for me in fantasy football.
Yeah, well, you should have taken my Thielen trade and may have gotten something for you.
We were talking about that before the show started, and looking back at it now, I should have taken the Thielen trade. He was phenomenal last weekend, honestly. I was not expecting that, but that's the game of football. Things can change basically on an instant, and I kind of got basically called out for making a trade. I traded Zach Ertz for a receiver, and it didn't really quite pan out for me.
Yeah, that. I mean, well, I think it was a fair trade. Um, on my that's my opinion. Cooks for Ertz. I know can bring high quality, but that Eagles offense, man, it looks rough, rough, rough. Like it looks pretty bad.
It always concerns me with the Eagles, especially with Carson Wentz. He's been injured the last few seasons. So he really hasn't gotten the reps that he needs to be that high profile quarterback that we all expect him to be. So that was kind of my mindset when I went into that trade, and it kind of backfired on me right now. We'll see what happens. It's only first week of the season. We got 9 more weeks to go, so it's something. A turnaround can happen. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah. I mean, he got sacked 8 times, and there was a meme going around, and it showed. Gosh, who did they play last week? I forgot who they played. Um, yeah, I don't remember who they played, but it showed the offensive lineman just standing there watching Wentz get sacked. There was like three, four people around him. I'm like, come on, guys, got to block
Yeah,
for you. See, and that whole division, it's kind of hit or miss.
yeah.
You're either it's it. I mean, you got the Giants, another terrible offensive line. You got Washington. Actually, it looks pretty. They have a solid defense. It looks like. I
Hmm.
mean, now the Cowboys on paper, which is year in and year out with the Cowboys, look good. But I mean, it is the Cowboys. You know,
Right. Yep, absolutely.
the game needs.
There was a play. I didn't see the game, but I saw that it was a fourth down play, and Mike McCarthy went for it. And actually, he got the support from his quarterback, Dak Prescott, who said, that was the call that needed to be made. He supported his coach in that call, and I think McCarthy got a fan in Dak and Prescott. So maybe we might be able to see something kind of that coach quarterback combination kind of start to mold itself together, kind of gel, and maybe this Cowboy offense, like you said, looks good on paper, but maybe we can see them kind of thrive and kind of get over that hump that they've been have the pressure put on year after year to make, which is to get to the postseason. So I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
it's 15 weeks, to go, and so a lot can happen between now and the end of end of the regular season. But
oh
but
yeah,
yeah, so we got week 2 coming up this week. This is going to be another high profile, high scoring week for fantasy football for us.
oh yeah. We have some pretty solid matchups going. I think everyone's pretty close on projections. I think the only highest one that I see, yeah, the highest one is the Nasty Crew and Coastal Bend, which is for us. But I mean, going into this week, looking at last week, let's stay on the Cowboys.
Okay.
Does Elliott thrive from having CD Lamb there and now Gallup, or does he hurt from having CD Lamb?
I don't know. Zeke has always been one of those that he shows flashes of greatness here and there, and then he will kind of regress, and then he'll kind of pick back up again. I think it may take another week or two for this team to get um, kind of that cohesiveness, but I think with with Lamb and those other guys, I think they'll be able to have a 1, 2, 3 punch. Not the Aikman, the Emmett Smith, and the Michael Irvin era, but it may be something that is coming to fruition soon.
Oh yeah, looks like we have a comment.
So we got a comment coming in from Texans lose 16. He says, "I have Prescott, Zeke, and Cooper, and he killed it in week 1." So yeah,
Yeah, and that's not a bad stack. The only thing I have concerns with on that week is who is your backup? Who's your replacement for Zeke on what is it, week 10? I think the Cowboys are on by, or week 9. I mean, you have a solid RB1, mid to low end our wide receiver one. I mean, I wouldn't put Cooper up there like a top 5 wide receiver, but he's for sure wide receiver 1.
yeah,
And yeah, you did kill it last week because I mean Zeke got I think 27 if you're playing PPR. Prescott had a pretty solid game. Um, just my concern with that is, your bye week.
right.
What
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens come week 10 with the Cowboys and with all 3 of those guys not playing that week. So hopefully he's got some guys on the bench that can come through and put up some good numbers.
Oh yeah, yeah, and going back to what we were saying is, I feel the safest bet out of Dallas right now to play will probably be Zeke.
Yes.
Because I feel like they're going to start feeding CD Lamb. Gallup's going to be more of like the what is his name, Terrence Williams kind of
Mhm.
feel. Like he'll get your deep ball, but he still has hands.
Right.
Cooper is your possession guy, but the bet to play week in and week out will for sure be Zeke.
I think so. I think he's going to get the bulk of the offense. Um, you know, maybe we might see some flashes from Prescott to maybe kind of call his own number, and kind of take control a little bit of that offense, which is you know uh, something he really hasn't had a chance to do, especially with his former coach in um, Jason Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this new regime with Mike McCarthy will allow him to kind of be himself. Because I mean, he is a good pocket passer, but he can also scramble. He can run, and he can do things on his feet that will hurt you. So he's got the tools there. So hopefully, McCarthy can kind of express those tools, bring them out to allow him to kind of thrive and kind of flourish. I think that's what Prescott needs. I think he has the ability to be I don't want to say a top 5 quarterback, maybe a top 10 if he's given the opportunity. And we kind of saw greatness when he took over for Romo several years ago. And now he's the man under center. And hopefully he can kind of get into um, that playing mentality like he was in college.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I believe he's on a franchise tag this year. Am I wrong?
Yes, he is on a franchise tag. I it'd be interesting to see what happens now, especially with that Deshaun Watson getting that mega 177 million. Is that what it was?
Oh, like 100 was it 173 or 177? It was the one. It was a pretty insane amount. I mean, he's. I wouldn't say he's. I think Deshaun Watson deserves it.
Oh,
Now it's going
absolutely.
to be interesting to see how Deshaun Watson works without D Hop. Is That's my issue, and this year for Dak Prescott will prove. I mean, this is contract year.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
you have CD Lamb, you have Michael Gallup, you have 177 for Watson. Um, you have CD Lamb, Cooper, Zeke, and Gallup. I mean, yeah, you just lost your tight end to an ACL, but you have three solid weapons, and not
Right.
including your running back. If I don't think if he gets playoffs this year, he's probably not going to get the money he's expecting. Asking for $37 million a year, you
And
putting up some serious numbers.
oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
no
I-
Patrick Mahomes here, no, but
yeah, go out and win the Super Bowl, and I'm sure Jerry will love to talk about that contract.
and it's not only that. When's the last time they won a playoff game? When's the last time
Uh,
they went and actually and won?
it was the year they lost to Green Bay in the championship series. The Des catch that was called not a catch, but I think we can all say it was.
Oh, well, I'm not a Cowboy fan, so I mean, but you know that was that's the last time. This whole era with Dak, they've been a mediocre team.
Mhm.
So it's you have a coach that can. I mean, he's worked with Aaron Rodgers. Look what he did with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
You
Exactly.
have someone there. You have weapons. This is really now it's Dak's game. It's all on him.
And he's got the offensive line too. I mean, Jerry went out a few drafts ago and stacked that offensive line. Martin, uh, I think he's the guard. That
I heard a trade buzz on him too.
what's that?
I heard a trade buzz on Zach Martin too.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't think it's not like a reliable source, but that the ideal that I saw was a Zach Ertz and Zach Martin trade, 1-for-1.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't think that would necessarily hurt the Cowboys. I think it would actually benefit. They would gain from it.
But
You know,
I wonder who the tight end is now for Dallas. It's
ooh,
not
not Jarwin. He just started his ACL.
um it is not is it Swam? The guy out of
Might
Texas that they drafted a couple years ago. I thought he was supposed to be. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up here because that would be interesting for Jerry to go and which I mean a move like that is a Jerry move. Um, to trade one of your top linemen for I mean a number one tight end.
arguably top 5 tight
Yeah.
end, easy. You know,
Um, let's see.
might see and now kind of switching up teams. I think the whole spotlight right now is on Tampa.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely. I think the Tom Brady era in Tampa didn't get off to the start that they would like to.
Yeah, because I mean, just even going based off of fantasy, what did he do? Let's see.
He
I don't.
didn't.
He didn't do good at all.
No.
I mean, I think the only one that thrived out of that was Godwin.
Yeah. Gronkowski, he didn't do very much either. He
Actually, Godwin didn't even thrive. Nothing. I have Mike Evans, and I thought I'm holding on to him, but I don't know. It's It's one of those. I think it's a fantasy, and I think there's too much going on. Gronkowski didn't do anything.
No.
You
Well,
know,
I heard he didn't come into the camp in the best shape either.
well, that doesn't shock me. I
I
mean, it
mean,
is
that's
Gronkowski.
yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see what Brady did last week.
Who had him?
So last week, week 1,
Ooh,
he threw for 239 yards with 2 touchdowns. I think he also had 2 interceptions as well.
and then he had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
On paper, beside the 2 interceptions, it's a decent Brady game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he had 16.9 points on that week. Um, yeah, he had the rushing touchdown. I mean, the interceptions hurt him. He was sacked a few times. I can't tell if he was sacked 3 times. I think is what it was. So not the best game for him that we're used to seeing, but it's one of those, is age a factor now? Okay, we got Taylor fixing to hop on here. I'm going to send him the link real quick here.
He should have it in the.
Tell him to scroll up real quick.
Just go ahead and send it.
Yeah. I've got another comment coming in from Carlos. Said Gronkowski didn't come to play for fantasy points. Once the team gets going, Tom Brady has never been a top pick for fantasy league.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
Brady is one of those. He's a streaming quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he is. So you have Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or whoever riding as your quarterback. Now, I mean, that's not to say to go after. I would start him over Baker Mayfield.
Really? Well,
I'd start
yeah, Baker, yeah.
Baker Mayfield. Now, but on Carlos's point, yes, Brady's never been a boomer for fantasy. Normally, he'll put up around like 15 to, sometimes he'll put up 30.
Right.
But Gronk he didn't come back to play for fantasy points. But Gronk really didn't look good. Like, I'm scared to see what's actually going to happen. And I'm a huge Patriot fan, and I think this was not the right choice for Brady to do.
No, I completely agree. But boy, did Cam look good.
Oh yeah.
That I had another guest on the podcast a few weeks ago, and we kind of talked about where Cam Brady would end up. And I knew he was probably going to go to New England no matter what. I think being with Bill Belichick and that franchise and that organization, and just how Belichick coaches, I think Cam Newton will do great. He'll kind of let Cam do his thing. But boy, he looked good on Sunday, especially in that blue.
Yeah. See, my thing is there's two ways that New England's going to really do good, and Cam Newton will do good. I think Cam Newton won on the fantasy aspect. I think he'll bring you points. If he's healthy and he's like the 2015 MVP Cam Newton,
Mm-hmm.
which they said he came in 100% healthy. So
Now, was that the year they went to the Super Bowl?
may have been
against the Patriots. I have to look that up as well. Because I want to say that was when, and it was in Tampa, if I'm not mistaken.
the Super Bowl 50.
Yeah, I knew it was one of those milestone Super Bowls. Milestone, that's the word. Can't talk tonight either.
I think they lost to Denver. Yeah, they played Denver that year. But yeah, that was I believe Cam's.
Oh, that's right.
So if that's the case, if he looks that good, now Cam's never been one to throw the ball deep. He'll throw it, but you know, I want to see how it's going to work with Bill Belichick out there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're getting him for cheap, so he has a lot to
Oh,
work.
absolutely.
I think it's what, a $700,000 contract.
At least
With
probably
10
just the
three.
the veteran minimum.
Yeah, I think it's the veteran minimum with the incentives being up to like 3.8 million or something like that. So it's he's hungry. You're gonna come in and eat. You know,
No, absolutely.
I mean, so with that, you know, it's. Do I agree with Brady leaving? No, I don't. I think
Right.
he should have stayed to protect the legacy. I do like Brady as a quarterback. As you know, being a Patriot fan, it hurts to see him leave, but I think he may have chewed off more than he can actually take in. I mean,
Oh, I
it's
agree. I agree 100%. I think uh, he should have either stayed in New England or he should have just up and retired. Because he's built so much for that organization and that community, and you know, you've got what, 6 Super Bowls to your name. I mean, right off into the sunset, you've done great. You've had a great storied career. Um, the body can only take so much at given at his age. So that's my opinion. I just think he should have just retired. Honestly, we got a comment come in from Carlos. Cam fits the system, and we're talking about the New England Patriots system. The man can fit any system if the coach knows the game. Obviously, he's got Bill Belichick, so he definitely knows that game. The man won 3 different college championships under 3 different systems. So yeah, I agree. I mean, he excelled at Blinn Junior College, and then he also excelled at Auburn, both winning national championships at those respective schools. So Cam's a proven winner. He fits the bill. He's the your prototypical quarterback, especially if you look at size and strength and all that good stuff. So I think Cam is in the right spot with the right coach, and
maybe that's what Cam needed to. Let me give him this link real quick. Um, maybe that's what Cam needed was a coach. I'm not saying Ron Rivera wasn't a good coach. I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but you're with Bill Belichick now.
right.
He will break you down. So yeah, I believe he fits the system. I mean, from the get go, as soon as I saw that Cam was released or whatever happened, first thing I did, I looked at a buddy of mine. I was like, he's going to New England. Thought I was crazy. I mean, everyone's like, nah, that's not going to happen. Him and Bill Belichick won't fit. Cam adjust. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. The new Steve McNair, Donovan McNabb, I'm 100% behind that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
he does fit the system. Now, with that being said, on a fantasy aspect, that kind of lowers. I think Julian Edelman's PPR value. You know, his get. I mean, because he doesn't. He'll do the check downs, but he kind of goes for like more of the mid to deep range balls.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, it's got a comment here on Facebook. Um, okay, cool. You're streaming it also on your page as well. Okay, cool. But yeah, I think we're gonna see some points go down, like you said, with the Julian Edelman. Some of the receivers, tight ends, their fantasy points won't be as high as they normally probably should. But you know, uh, Cam is gonna be Cam, like you said. He will do his check downs and everything. We'll see what happens. With as the season progresses. And joining us right now, we've got Taylor. Taylor, how's it going, man?
Good, good. Sorry about that. Sorry I was a little late.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. Glad you can jump on with us, talking little fantasy footballs with the league and everything. So this is actually the first time I've actually get to see you. I haven't met you, in person, but
Yeah.
but so we kind of just been talking a little bit, everything that's been going on right now, as far as you know, players throughout the week, all that good stuff. So how does your team do?
Man, I had a rough first week. I mean, it was a good game. The guy I played, just a bunch of his players went off. I don't know. I guess I got unlucky. I don't know. I can pull it up real quick. Where's it at? I think I played Tanner, right, Austin?
No, I played Tanner. I beat him by less than 2 points. Let me see if I can pull it up for you.
I think you played Norman or
Oh
somebody
yeah,
played Norman.
I played Norman. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you played. No, you played Pat. Oh yeah, Pat had. I mean, Pat's team stacked. He had
Yeah, no, yeah.
Christian McCaffrey,
Yep.
Chris Carson,
Mhm.
D Hop, Devontae Adams, Mark Andrews. When you have players like that are going to go off, I knew Devontae Adams was going to go off. That's why I threw everything I could at trying to get Devontae Adams. But
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, there was nothing you could do. Even if Cortland Sutton did do something in his game, there's nothing.
Yeah, I was
So,
surprised he didn't get any receptions or yards. I was kind of
well,
disappointed.
I think he got hurt for the
Did he? Oh, okay.
game. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and now that kind of brings me around. Who was your surprise player that hopped on scene this year, or the week as of week one?
I was really surprised with Goddard from the Eagles. I mean, he went off. I really should have started him, but I thought Kittle was going to do more, and he that situation.
Yeah, for me it was John Brown, wide receiver
Yeah.
for the Bills, excuse me. He had 19 points in week 1. He had 6 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. I didn't think to start him, and looking back now, I kind of wish I did because he was probably, one of my he was one of my top receivers that day. And yeah, I've got him starting this week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's always
Yeah,
touchy with
I had him last season, and every week I didn't start him. I always regretted it. So that was a pain last year, but
I think with him, that's one of those. If you're good at wide receiver and you're good at, let's see, we run a 2 flex. If you run 1 flex, he's good at maybe tossing up a flex. If you have nothing better,
mhm.
yeah. I see Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson's been up and down. My biggest thing was Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
Was let's see what I made the trade. Probably the dumb trade that I made was Crowder and Mostert to get Gurley. I
And then you turn around, you trade Gurley for Miles Sanders.
yeah, Sanders. It's
Good 3-team trade there.
yeah, but and my biggest thing was I think how was I think D Hop was not my biggest surprise, but seeing how Kyler Murray adjusted with D Hop out there, seeing how he came from no, I take that back. David Johnson did pretty solid, but seeing how Kyler Murray did last year, he didn't do anything.
Right.
Like yeah, he didn't have really much to throw to other than Fitz, which I love Fitz to death, but he's what 38, 39.
Yeah, he's getting up there in age.
I was really anxious to see how D Hop did.
Yeah, he was a surprise. I mean, I guess you wouldn't say he was a surprise. We kind of expected he would have a good game. Had 29.1 points with 14 receptions for 151 yards.
Wow.
That's some good chemistry between him and Kyler Murray at quarterback. So I think,
without a touchdown, he had 29 points.
yeah, which is, I mean, I know we're used to seeing him in the end zone, but I mean, still 151 receiving yards is still a fantastic game, at least in my opinion.
No, yeah, agreed. I think this year, if you got David Johnson for around 5th, 6th round, anywhere between 4th round and 8th round, I think you got a steal. I honestly do because you think looking at the trade, yes, okay, everyone thought Bill O'Brien was an idiot for trading D Hop to get David Johnson, but you got to think about it. What do they have? Will Fuller out there now. They have Brandon Cooks. Who's the other one I was just talking about?
um,
Cooks, and then they have Randall Cobb.
yeah,
Not the best 3 receivers, but you got a huge upgrade in running back, which that was your issue. Yeah, you had D Hop, but what happens whenever you go play Stephon Gilmore? You play like a Lattimore,
right.
or Trey White.
Yeah.
You'll shut him. You won't shut D Hop down. It's really hard to do that, but now you have weapons. So I think the biggest thing that I think is David Johnson.
Yeah, Carlos said they have
David
speed.
Johnson, yeah, and with speed and with Watson's arm, I mean, it's crazy. And then David Johnson being the running back that can, one, run the ball, or two,
Right.
if he can be the receiving back. Duke Johnson the same way. So I think my biggest one that, yeah, I agree. If David Johnson stays healthy, you're solid. That's it. You're solid. You got a steal there.
We got Kenny wrote in with the comment as well. You guys think Bridgewater will turn into a Lamar Jackson, your player, type player? I would like to see Bridgewater kind of turn into that high profile, high caliber quarterback. I don't know. Yeah, when he was at Louisville, I think he was under Charlie Strong. My mind went blank there for a second. He really thrived under that program in that style of quarterback. And then when he got drafted into the NFL, a lot of teams were trying to trade him, or not trade him, but kind of position him into a receiver. And Bridgewater, he's done great as far as a quarterback, as a number 2. To be a number 1 like Lamar Jackson,
you got to step it up to the next level.
Yeah, and you've got to have the playmakers around you as well.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that, because look at Lamar Jackson. He has Marquise Brown. He has Mark Andrews. His backs are what? Mark Ingram now and J.K. Dobbins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he has a decent line.
A lot of speed.
But you can't compare Lamar Jackson to Bridgewater.
Right.
You can't. That's like comparing Mahomes to Tom Brady right now. That's not comparable. It's just not. I mean, Bridgewater's up in age. I don't think he has that surgery. Now, do I think he'll be like a Dak Prescott kind of? Probably. A Deshaun Watson for fantasy? It could be. Not Lamar Jackson.
No. Do you think he might be one, if your number 1 is on a bye week, that you would start him just to fill the hole?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at his last week. He played Las Vegas.
Oh, that's weird, right?
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders.
It just sounds weird. I don't know why.
It does. It really does.
I mean, just looking at it, he had 270 yards
mm-hmm.
and 1 touchdown. He had 26 rushing yards. Got sacked once. Not a bad game, but that's against Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I think they really have a defense. So it just depends on when your bye week is, because you gotta. If he's playing New Orleans, no, definitely not. Kansas City, same thing. I wouldn't do it. You have to look at when that bye is. Now, he is a streaming quarterback, pretty much just the same way as Josh Allen is. I just don't see him being a starting quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. Kind of touched on Lamar Jackson for a minute. He threw for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. If Bridgewater wants to get to that caliber, I mean, we need to see him, be a Patrick Mahomes, throw 4 touchdowns, rush for another one. But
and that's crazy that you even throw Mahomes with the same conversation. I can see Lamar Jackson Mahomes, but I agree. Like you have to be jumping in, and you have. Well, granted, he's with Carolina, learning new
Mhm.
offense. Yeah, but I mean, you have Curtis Samuel, and you have what's the other receiver out there? He's on this team, I believe. DJ Moore. You got two solid receivers out there. You got you got the arguably the best running back in the game. So can he be like a Deshaun? Probably. Lamar or Patrick Mahomes? Definitely not. I don't see it.
Taylor, what do you think?
My biggest deal is I think for him, I loved watching him in college. I think that system fit him really, really well. And then I'm not saying he's doing bad in the NFL, but I think he has to find a system that kind of like Louisville, to where it like really, really fits him, and I think he'll really thrive. He is getting up in age, like Austin said, so that's a factor you got to come into it. You just got to find that right system, just like any quarterback. But I don't know. Who knows? We'll see how the rest of the season goes. He didn't have a bad game, but it is against Las Vegas, so
Right.
you definitely have to step up in that situation. But it was a good game.
So let's play hypothetical for a second. Say he gets released. Where do you think? Where is the best team for him to go to that can fit his type of play?
Who, Bridgewater?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He just signed what, a 3-4 year deal with Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So he's locked in for the next at least 3 years. I know that for sure. I think Carolina has. I think that's a solid system for him. And just to kind of touch on Carlos's comment here, it's too late in his career to step back to be an elite quarterback like that. I agree. His best bet is to become like Drew Brees or Peyton Manning. I see a Drew Brees.
The Colts, but they have Philip Rivers.
Well, he's going to retire. I mean, what are you going to trade up for him?
Yeah.
So the Colts have something brewing too. But I think to touch on Bridgewater, he's in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to build something. I mean, look what he did last year with the Saints. Went 5-0 whenever Brees was out.
Right.
I mean, you don't just come in and go 5-0 as a backup quarterback.
Exactly.
You got to know something. But all he needs to worry about is winning games.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy-wise, he's not going to be like Lamar Jackson. So now with the Colts, that's an interesting team there. T.Y. Hilton. You can ask Taylor. He was at my draft. He was at my house during draft. I took a gamble on him. Kind of disappointed me last week. Really?
How did he end up doing?
9. He got me 9 points. Really didn't do much.
You were trying to trade him. You were trying to trade him to me.
This was before the game happened. Here's the thing about Ty. Philip Rivers is a gunslinger.
Mm.
He's gonna throw the ball no matter what. Can't run the ball. He's a gunslinger. Ty's speed.
Right.
So it's either Ty is gonna have a breakout year and be the T.Y. Hilton as he was in fantasy football, or he's gonna be a mediocre wide receiver. That's a strong wide receiver 3. Maybe a wide receiver 2.
So what are you gonna? Are you gonna sit him, or are you gonna play him this week?
No, he's in my lineup this week.
Who they play this week?
Minnesota, and their defense is. Eesh.
Yeah.
Kenny wrote in. He's trying to trade Ty to everyone.
It's all before week 1, buddy.
Then Carlos wrote in about Ty. Has his best games when he's against Richard Sherman. I'm a Colts fan, trust me.
Well, let me see when he plays San Francisco. Doesn't. Dang,
so I was gonna ask, what was y'all's biggest surprise week 1 win wise? I don't know if y'all talked about this already or not.
Are you talking about win wise or player wise?
Just both too. We can touch on both.
Player wise, I'm gonna go back to John Brown. I think he was my surprise. everybody else, I figured, did pretty well. Um, I was kind of hoping maybe I've got the Steelers defense. They kind of held up at the end there. Um, but other than that, I was kind of hoping maybe my tight ends. I mean, I've got Kelsey, so he did great. He was one of my standouts. Also, I've got Patrick Mahomes. So that 1-2 tandem there did pretty great. But
Nick Chubb's going off right now. Oh shit.
Is he?
Yeah, I forgot the game was on. Oh yeah, it is Thursday.
yeah, so right now Cleveland and Cincinnati are going at it, and Cleveland's up 21-13. That's a little over 5 minutes left in the third.
Nice.
That situation is very, very. I think Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, I think they have about the same value. You're gonna ride the best running back that's playing at that point in time in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think I just had it pulled up. My surprise. Let me go back and find it. I think my biggest surprise was seeing how Thielen would actually do.
Yeah.
Without Stephon Diggs on the other side.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that off before we got started, and yeah, he definitely surprised a lot of us in how he played, which is it threw me for a loop because I know we kind of went back and forth on possibly getting him for a trade, and boy, he put up the numbers and definitely helped you get over, to basically seal that win for you last week.
Oh no, he was already traded. Who did I trade? No, he was already with Marcus last week.
Thielen?
Last week. Yeah.
I thought you had him before the trade or before the game started.
The trade got finalized before Sunday. I think it got finalized on Friday.
Who'd you trade him for?
Saquon Barkley. I traded him.
That's
Thielen
right. Yeah,
you
told
Connor.
me. That's not
That's
too bad,
another
I guess.
one. Why is my phone being stupid?
Yeah, Kenny wrote in and said the Bears had a nice comeback.
Yeah, that was a very good game. That was.
What
I really didn't think Chicago was going to do very good, but they proved me wrong, which was good to see.
My question is, you go and sign Nick Foles to what, a 3-4-year contract, and you bench him.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what the thought process on it. I mean, obviously they came out to win, but let me see what I want to see what I was offering you. I know.
Yeah, well, so I'm kind of looking at Mitchell Trubisky. His stats from last week: he had 22.6 points, threw for 242 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I don't know. It's every once in a while, the city of Chicago seems to write off him, and he kind of shows up and puts up numbers like he did. Ooh, Carlos just came in with the question. Josh Gordon, he comes back. How does that look for fantasy?
Is he still with Seattle?
I thought he got released.
Did he get released?
No, he is still with Seattle.
But he didn't play Sunday, did he?
No, he's still suspended.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yep.
How long? Wait, I haven't followed. He used to be one of my go-tos. How long is he suspended for?
A year.
Oh wow!
Is it a full year? Wow.
Yeah, I think this is dating back to last season.
Because I know he got into something at the end of last season, but I didn't realize it was that long.
Or maybe I might be mistaken. It could be maybe 6 games.
Let's
But
see.
I thought that was Antonio Brown that was suspended for 8 games.
Okay, don't even bring that man up. Nah.
I know he did get suspended, but let me see.
Said they re-signed him on September 3rd.
Nothing.
yeah, when he
What?
the time is running short for Gordon to receive it.
I think he got suspended for weed, and then they came out and said that weed's not against against the rules. So I think if he comes back, you got DK Metcalf out there, and
Of course, Tyler Lockett as well.
Ooh. Yep.
yes, for fantasy, I think he'll be a solid flex play, wide receiver 3. Now, I won't say he's going to be the Josh Gordon like he was whenever he came on the show and took it by storm back in 2013, 2014. With Cleveland, he ate. And that's what he did. But I think a wide receiver 3. I mean, he started looking pretty solid with Seattle last year. He started kind of getting his form back, which is good. I mean, by all means, I want to see him play. And he has talent that he just wasted.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, the substance abuse, I mean, that's no laughing matter. I mean, it's a struggle within itself right there, but it's almost like how many times are you going to get that second chance before somebody steps in and says, "Okay, no, you've had too many chances. Now's the time you either get that, I don't want to say a lifetime ban or anything, but basically be forced out of the league."
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many times you can mess up to where, they're finally like, hey, like, no more.
Well, see, and, just looking at him with fantasy wise, barring he comes back, Russell Wilson can make him starting out when he comes back. I would say he's going to be a solid flex. No, I wouldn't put him on wide receiver 2 level just yet. And to kind of touch on Carlos's point, he's technically still young. Yes, football years, he's still young. His age, he's what, 28, 29?
I can look that up.
Who, Gordon?
Yeah.
29.
29. So, yeah, football years, he's been in the league full seasons, maybe, 5, 6?
At least.
I mean, look at it to speak on that he's very athletic. He's very capable of being a wide receiver 2 and a low end wide receiver 1. Can he do it? I don't see it.
I think
to be solid between the ears, and he can't do
that. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Josh Gordon is one of those that he's definitely a wild card. And I think when he gets the opportunity, he's shown signs of greatness. He's shown that he can compete at that highest level. It's the off the field is what's the most troublesome. And I want the best for him. I want him to get over this and so he can play football. I mean, that's his gift. And it's just keeping yourself, out of trouble.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, I think he needs to come back. Now he can smoke all the weed he wants to because the NFL just kind of said, no, you can smoke it all you want. Yeah, go to the games high. By all means, do it.
And I think it's legal in Seattle.
Yeah, there you
go. It is. Yep, it is. Yep.
Kenny Golladay still in number 1, or do you think his injury is too much for him this year?
I don't know. See, he didn't play last week.
No.
He's nursing a hamstring. They're talking right now that he might be a game time decision. I don't see him starting or playing on Sunday.
Who are they playing?
They are playing Green Bay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
I think once he gets healthy from a fantasy perspective, he will.
he killed it when he was healthy last year.
Mhm. I think once he gets healthy, he'll be um, your number one, or even I wouldn't put him in a flex, but um,
He's a low end wide receiver 1, strong
Yeah.
wide receiver 2. Kenny, I will say if you have him, I would kind of ride with him. I don't know what time they play. I would check game time decision. Even if it's a game time decision, look at what Mike Evans did for me.
right.
I mean, I wouldn't trust it. Now, he comes back healthy from his injury, solid.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think that hamstring is one of those injuries that you kind of have to nurse it and to get it back. But I think once he gets healthy, yeah, he's going to be uh, one to be reckoned with.
What do you? And I know you don't want me bringing up this name. What do you think about Antonio Brown?
Man, he's just. I don't even know where to begin with him. I just think he needs to. I don't know. I just think he needs to take a step back and really question whether he wants to come back. I just honestly think it's just a show for him at this point. It's just. There's nothing really else to say. He's just a clown, honestly. That's how I view him. But I mean, I know that's mean, but it's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think that he has played his last game in the NFL. Honestly, all these allegations and accusations and that he's been in the news about the last couple weeks and months. I honestly think that the NFL is going to say that you are done. And like I said, I think he's played his last game in the NFL. And it's unfortunate because he was in a good system in New England with Tom Brady. And, they gave him a chance, which they give, they do bring in a lot of good talent. And he wasn't able to, kind of just live up to the expectation.
Oh,
So hypothetically, if he ever does come back, where would y'all like to see him, or what would be a good fit?
Baltimore.
Yeah. Him with Lamar Jackson, I think that would be a good fit.
Well, not only that, he has his cousin there, Marquise Brown.
Okay.
Who's to say, family doesn't pull them back together?
Right.
Who's to say it doesn't do that? Now, we're talking 7 more games down the road. I mean, look at New Orleans. Michael Thomas just went down. If he's out for longer than expected, do you go after Antonio Brown?
I think if you desperately need a receiver, possibly, but
well, I wouldn't trust throwing to Emmanuel Sanders nonstop.
Yeah.
Well, here I'm gonna throw a name out at you that we haven't heard in a while. What about Des Bryant?
I was just about to say that. What concerns me with him is that he's coming off an ACL and tear.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He still has talent.
Oh, absolutely.
The Cowboys gave up on him too soon.
I'm still mad about that.
I think
so mad about that.
They definitely gave up on him too soon. Now, I mean, where could he be placed at? Really hard question.
I know I know about a month or so ago there was talk about him going to Baltimore for a
I did
tryout,
I did see that he was possibly gonna work out with them.
but since then it's been quiet on the Des Bryant front. So not quite sure what his status is or where he's, if he's ready to play or if he's trying out anywhere. So I was just curious if y'all had heard anything about him.
I mean, he hasn't played in a game since what, the end of 2017, I think.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt in training camp and the next year.
No, Kenny Dez was working out with Dak Prescott.
Ah, interesting. Because I know he went from the Saints, got injured, and then he got released, and then we heard about with the Ravens.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm watching this video where he works out with, I think this is Zeke and Dak. Huh. Shit, for 31, he looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think if he gets healthy, I mean, he's still, a prime top receiver. I had this chance to see him both in college and in the NFL, and he fits the mold. He's that big prototypical wide receiver that you want out there on the end, and um, kind of sucks for him that he, blew his ACL out, but I mean, excuse me, his Achilles. Um, hopefully we can see him in 2020. That would be. I think I think he's one of those that needs one of those redemption type stories.
I do agree with that because he, after that playoff game in Dallas with the Green Bay, that was just, I think that put kind of like a, just kind of a weird feeling like on his career, and just nothing really ever happened after that. But I think he does definitely need kind of like a comeback season or just one big year.
Oh, absolutely, I agree 100%.
You know, with Dez, I think he might help out Philip Rivers.
In Indianapolis,
Yeah, why not throw him in Indy or Houston?
oh,
You know,
I thought
do what?
I was gonna say I thought Houston was kind of in the running for him after he got released with Dallas. I figured Houston would be the spot he would land at. Oh,
That's a good talk.
so Carlos just wrote in here. Where do you guys think Julio Jones will end up in fantasy rank mid-season? That's a good question there.
Ooh. Seeing as Ridley is going to be a sleeper this year, and if you picked him up, he's going around round 3, round 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you got him later than that, you got a steal. Julio Jones, you can't rule him out. He stays in the bracket with, Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, top 3. Diop, top 4. Replace Devontae Adams with D-Hop. Because Devontae he's a hit or miss kind of guy. Julio will bring you consistent points. I think mid-season, he'll still be top 4. Barring Matt Ryan knows how to throw a ball,
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a story down there for.
I think it's about time for Matty to pack up and go to the Browns and end his career with this. So.
Yeah, basically
That-
just funnel towards the Browns.
That's where everybody goes to end their career. So
I strongly believe Julio mid-season, he'll still be top 4. I don't know. I don't know what y'all think about it, but that's because you really can't rule Julio out.
no.
He's gonna put points up. He's not fast, but he's gonna put you solid points. Simple as that.
Let's look at their schedule real quick and see.
So while you're looking that up, I'm going to give you a little update with the Cleveland Cincinnati game. Cleveland's up 28-16 right now. Baker Mayfield is 16 for 23, 219 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Joe Burrow, that's a guy we haven't talked about yet.
Ah,
25 for 41, 228 yards and 1 touchdown as well.
I mean,
So
not
yeah,
bad
I
numbers.
agree. You do have a declining Carlos's comment. You have a declining Matt Ryan. You know, I agree. Who won? Oh, okay.
I mean, let's see. So the next 3 weeks they play Dallas, Chicago, and Green Bay.
So they have a decent. Yeah, I think he'll have a pretty solid game. You know, but to speak on Carlos's point, if I'm Matt Ryan, you know your arm's not going to be able to keep up with Stephen Ridley.
Yeah.
Who's your next best guy? Who's been your old trusty for what 10 years?
Right.
You know, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. You know, he's going to be a red zone threat. He's going to be a 50-50 kind of ball. You know, you're going to get in the end zone. You're going to get in the red zone, and that's it. You're going to Julio. That's the first one you're going to look at. Ridley's going to be on the back end, so yeah, he's going to be the sleeper of it. So yeah, even with the declining Matt Ryan, which needs to decline real fast, I think he'll still be top 4, top 5. There's
Oh,
no doubt about it.
no, I agree 100%. I think he's still one of those top flight receivers. Kind of staying with the receiver front for a second. You know, I got offered a trade, not tonight, but a few weeks ago on draft night, actually, for Jerry Jeudy. Now, what do you think about him as far as I know he's a young dude coming into the league. How do you think he's going to perform this season?
Well, I think on draft night, I think me and Taylor had that same kind of conversation. I don't trust Drew Lock.
Yeah, I don't have
enough.
enough faith in him.
There's not enough backing him yet to be able to trust Jeudy.
Exactly. Okay. That was kind of my same thought process as well. I almost pulled the trigger and went with the trade, but then of course I backed out. I think it.
See, but my main thing is you have Cortland Sutton out there. You know, the only reason why Jeudy got any touches was Sutton went down.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Judy's probably the number 2 receiver, but do you trust him? I mean, you got Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. You can run a dual running back system. You know, so he has a lot to prove. I don't think he's nearly the best wide receiver. I would put, you know, obviously CeeDee Lamb ahead of him. You know, Justin Jefferson ahead of him. You know, I don't know. I mean, Jeudy I think he'll be a mediocre guy this year.
Yeah, especially there was a lot of hype coming in after he was drafted as one of those, receivers that could be a playmaker. And I'm not saying that he won't be a playmaker, but I don't think he has the proper, the quarterback in Drew Lock to kind of help get him the numbers and the catches that he needs to be a top flight receiver.
Oh yeah, and see what Carlos had said here. I totally forgot. Noah Faint's out there. I totally forgot about that. You know, that puts Jerry Jeudy still like 3rd, 4th option.
Yeah.
Let me see what his shares were. Obviously, they're going to be high, but let me see.
Yeah. So Noah Faint, he had 19.1 points last week, 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. So good opening day, especially at the tight end position for the Denver Broncos.
6'4", 250. Wow.
Yeah, he's definitely got the size, that's for sure.
Maybe they'll be more geared toward tight ends in Denver this year. I would be if he's 6'5", 250.
Yeah, and you've got a quarterback that's not really reliable and a young receiving core. Yeah, you might have to rely on your tight end a little bit more.
Let's see who else.
One second.
Another tight end, Hurst, is one to look out for. Kind of look him up real quick.
Yeah, where Carlos said he does remind me of Jeremy Shockey. I forgot about that, man. That's a good point.
Hayden Hurst, tight end for the Falcons. He had an all right game in week 1. He was 3 catches for 38 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeremy Shockey, yeah. Kind of staying on the tight end front. What about Greg Olsen? I think he's with Seattle now.
I believe he still is, yeah.
Let's see how he did.
I don't think he really did much.
Because they have Greg Olsen, and then who's the other tight end there?
Isn't it Dillisley?
I think so. That sounds right.
You know, what about is he still in what now LA Rams? Is it Hunter Henry?
I believe he's still with them, yes.
Yeah, the Chargers, LA Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah.
He's solid. And then you have, you know, and even speaking on the Rams part, you have Higbee.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be one of those guys this year that I think will shine in the tight end. Greg Olsen is
Greg Olsen is an extra lineman.
This is true.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. He is a great blocker.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't do too bad. He had 4 for 24 with the touchdown. So, I mean, you get that touchdown in there, so it makes a world of difference.
And who was that?
Greg Olsen.
Okay. Yeah, I know he's with the new team now in Seattle, but he's still, I'd say he's still a good tight end.
He's getting up in there in age, right?
Oh, yeah.
35, yeah.
Yeah, Olsen. So, yeah, even though he's still up there in age, but, you know, he can still kind of come through, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, he'd be one of your.
With the Raiders. I mean,
how did he do? Did anybody pick him up? I don't think anybody did.
I do not think so.
That's one of those. He's like a Greg Olsen. It's going to take a miracle for them to actually do really good.
He only had one reception for 2 yards.
Yeah.
So,
but
hey, he'll be a red zone kind of guy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But he's the same thing as Olsen. He's gonna do blocking. Who do y'all think is y'all sleeper this year?
Player wise?
Yeah.
I was actually fixing to talk about this guy, Jimmy Graham.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Graham. I agree with that statement. He should have transitioned to wide receiver.
Yeah. He was one of those that's kind of been forgotten about for a while. And
who's he? He's with Chicago now?
Chicago now. And he stepped up. I mean, he had 3 catches for 25 yards with the touchdown. But, you know, like Kenny just wrote in here, you know, tight ends are becoming more relevant. No more just being an extra lineman and hope to catch something. So, yeah, I completely agree. I think the tight end we're starting to see more of the tight end come into play.
Cincinnati just scored. Now it's 28-23 Cleveland. 6 minutes left.
Who scored that touchdown?
Uh,
You know what?
Mike
Kind of
Mike Thomas.
backtrack here real quick. You had mentioned Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Probably going to be the biggest bust in the draft, but that's just me. But how do you think he's going to pan out this year?
Well, he's definitely got the drive. We saw that with the national championship game against Ellis at when he was with LSU. He had a excellent first game. I don't have his stats in front of me. And he's doing good tonight. I mean, tonight he's 27 for 45, so he's throwing the ball around. 241 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions so far. Maybe I might have just jinxed him, but
You're also playing too. It's not saying too much.
yeah,
Giving a lot of credit for that.
that is true. That is true. But see how he, yeah. So week 1, I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, 3 for 241 yards. Did have an interception. No, I'm sorry, a fumble. But right now he's on waivers. I'm surprised nobody's tried to claim him yet.
I mean, he might be a good pickup if you desperately need a quarterback, but I'm sure there will be better quarterbacks available. But like I said, you never know. There'll probably be 1 or 2 games during the year where he throws 3 touchdowns and or more and just goes for a bunch of yards. But then again, you never know with Cincinnati.
Yeah,
What do you
that is
think
true.
about it? He might be able to help Cincinnati change the program.
Yeah.
Fantasy wise, he's not going to be as relevant as we think. Quarterbacks typically aren't unless you're Lamar Jackson or, you know, Patrick Mahomes, even Deshaun Watson. But Joe Burrow, once again, like Carlos had said, he's going to be another Carson Wentz without injuries.
I was just fixing to post that up there.
It's
But yeah,
not- he won't be able to stay consistent. You can be a great call. I mean, look at Colt McCoy, phenomenal college quarterback. Look at Vince Young, phenomenal college quarterback.
Hmm.
But you come to the NFL, it's a whole nother game, Papa.
so let me ask you this. Do you think we're starting to see a change in how the quarterback position is played? We're seeing teams kind of stray away from the prototypical pocket type passer to more of a dual threat run and throw type quarterback, as we've seen with Lamar Jackson and even Patrick Mahomes as well.
Yeah, I mean, because who's really a drop back quarterback out of the young ones right now?
That's a good question.
You don't really have one. Even Dwayne Haskins, you still he can drop back. He's a solid pocket passer, but he can run. When I think of a pocket passer, I'm talking about Drew Brees, Tom Brady, the Peyton Mannings that can change a game in an instant. Don't get me wrong, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes can do the same thing. I think it's changing to where we're getting back into the feel of, I was just about to say that. It changed with Michael Vick. Probably my favorite quarterback of all time. That guy could flat out ball. So I think he brought that. I think the pocket passer will last.
Yeah, Kenny wrote in the pocket passer he thinks the pocket passer will last longer in the league.
Arguably, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a good point to bring up because I know mobile quarterbacks, they shine and they thrive in the past couple seasons or whatever in the NFL. But there's been some times where mobile quarterbacks, go off, but then they get hurt, and then you just got to think about, definitely pocket passers will last a lot longer, just because they're I wouldn't really say smarter with the ball, but they definitely they don't put themselves more at risk, I guess would be the better term.
And that goes back on the Teddy Bridgewater. If he didn't have that injury, where would he have been?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Where would he be now? He wouldn't be with Carolina. He wouldn't have been with the New Orleans Saints. Where would he have been? So, he was not a pocket passer. He was a mobile quarterback. So I agree with that. The pocket passer will last longer, yes. But is that the route the NFL's going? No. They want the excitement, you know. So
Oh yeah, it's just interesting to see a lot of teams kind of getting these dual threat quarterbacks, and you kind of almost think there's a change, but I mean, a lot of times, old school kind of comes back into play. So it's just interesting to see how the league continues to evolve.
oh yeah. See, like speaking on Joe Burrow, I don't I think he'll be better than Baker Mayfield, but I wouldn't put him up there. There's a lot to prove.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that there's a lot he has to prove because once again, you went to one of the best colleges in college football.
Hmm.
You know, it's I don't think he was the best quarterback. We had a really crappy quarterback class this year, honestly.
Oh yeah. Aside from Joe Burrow, not really much.
I mean, you had
Uh,
what Tua?
I think so. It was next year's quarterback class will probably be a little bit better. I think we'll see maybe Trevor Lawrence come out,
Ooh,
and that's a new topic for another day.
yeah. Who? Let's go back to this real quick. Who is your sleepers? Let's start. Let's just go with running back. Who's your sleeper running back this year?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Sleeper.
I don't know. That's tough because I mean, there's so many great running backs out there.
And I'm not talking about like was it Edward Solaire? That's not a sleeper. That's obviously a running back one. You know, I'm talking about like guys that will pop up on scene.
I do think though, J.K. Dobbins for the Ravens. I know in college, I don't know if y'all watched him at Ohio State, but he was just something else, and he's actually from Austin. You know where Lagrange is? He's from Lagrange.
No.
So
Okay.
yeah, he just the speed on that kid watching him in high school and then going to college was just insane. But there's always been guys like that, but I'd probably have to go with him, I guess, for a sleeper running back. But that situation in Baltimore with, you have Lamar running it a bunch, and then you have Mark Ingram. So I don't know.
I don't know. I want to see how Sonny Michelle does
Yeah.
with Cam Newton.
Ooh, man,
Um,
I don't trust the New England backfield with Cam Newton back there.
but you Newton had McCaffrey, and McCaffrey's a beast. We all know that. But we've kind of seen greatness, kind of flashes of greatness from Michelle, and I don't know. He had a decent week one with 10 carries for 37 yards and one touchdown. But I want to see if the running game for New England starts to pick back up and kind of maybe might take some off of Newton a little bit. I mean, it's new to the New England Patriots, so we never know what we're gonna get. But I don't know. I want to see how he does.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think my pick would be probably James Robinson out of Jacksonville.
Hmm.
I mean, he's getting the number one role. I know last year or last week, I should say, I think he's a rookie. I mean, he had 16 carries for 62 yards. So not saying it's the best because he only had one reception, but he's getting the first snap reps.
Absolutely.
He's going to probably be the sleeper. I would have, or even what was that player Taylor out of Indianapolis?
Uh,
What does his last name's Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor?
Is it?
Yeah.
Was that him? I
Mhm.
think so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he has a possibility of being not necessarily a sleeper, but getting your. See, Clyde Edwards can be brought up, but he's already going to be a number one back. That's the thing is he's already showing the poise of they're guaranteed going to Clyde Edwards in Kansas City as a back. Yeah, so
He's going to get a lot of touches though this year, I think, in Kansas City.
Oh yeah,
I'm not too sure how much he had week 1, but
for sure he will. Let's go wide receiver. Who do you think is going to be a sleeper this year? And it could be anybody at this point because how the NFL's running right now, it's anyone.
Oh man.
honestly, there's that's a good point. That's hard. That's a good question.
See, I have two of them. I think either Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
He did pretty solid last night or last game, but I think he's year 2. He's understanding the system a little bit more, so I think Marquise Brown and Calvin Ridley's gonna have a breakout year. I will say that. I think Gallup might be a sleeper that sneaks up on people.
I've always liked Gallup. I still do. He's just one of those guys that's always reliable. He's really fast. He can catch. He can run routes. He's just not really thought of as like a big time wide receiver, but he definitely proved himself last season.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. One guy we haven't talked about is Amari Cooper. He had a good week in week 1 with 10 catches for 81 yards. But there was a lot of hype, or I want to say pressure, to come in and be that number 1 in Dallas. And I think he's still the top dog in Dallas. But I don't know. Well, I kind of want him to kind of have that breakout season and kind of just take over and keep going, But I mean,
did he sign contract this year?
I don't think so.
I believe he should sign one next year. Maybe not. Oh.
Yeah, he just signed a 5-year, $100 million contract.
Okay.
It doesn't turn out like Zeke. I got paid. I could go rub my bench and get fat.
Right.
I would love to see Amari Cooper. I've always loved Amari Cooper. He can flat out ball. I think he'll benefit this year because he has CeeDee Lamb in the slot and Gallup on his opposite side. I think definitely he will not see as much double team.
Yeah.
I should say. The thing about Amari Cooper, though, is he has an issue with drops.
Right.
He will lead the league in drops. It's just that's how he is, I mean, and whenever you have a quarterback that wants $37 million but he throws the ball at his hips without, hitting him on the leg. That's a $37 million arm. Apparently.
Right.
I don't know how that is, but it is. I mean, it all relies on it. All goes back to Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
You have a coach now. Jerry Jones put weapons around you. If this is your contract year for Dak, you can't make it happen. We got to move on. That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One I want to talk about is Saquon Barkley. There is absolutely no offensive line whatsoever in New York.
And he still performed last year too. That's what I was surprised about.
This year the offensive line's even worse.
Is it?
I love Barkley, especially at his days in Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
That's my school, and him and Trace McSorley, and of course, I mean you've got Miles Sanders as well, but Barkley, even with the lineup, the offensive line that New York has, he can still find a way to get through, and once he gets through, that's it. He's gone. You might as well just give up, let him go score, get the ball.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, he way he runs, he's poised like that. It almost reminds me a lot of Adrian Peterson when he get an open field. Man, he looked pissed off when he was running,
Right.
and you didn't want to really get in his way. You run
Yeah. Absolutely.
the only thing that concerns me is the offensive line. If they can get a decent offensive line, I mean, look at it. Look at who did they play last week? Was it Washington or
Steelers.
the Steelers?
Yeah.
So if you look at it, last week he didn't do great, but he did. Hold on a second.
15 attempts for 6 yards.
But see,
Ugh. That's rough.
you face probably the best 7.
Oh yeah.
Should I drop Sony Michelle for Corey Davis?
All right, so we had someone write in here.
I mean, ugh.
Let's see here. Let's see how Corey Davis.
Let's look at their schedule.
Well, first, who's your other running backs, and what other options do you have?
Yeah, because it all just depends on your team and how it shapes up.
So Corey Davis.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree or agree.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same
because
boat.
The Patriots don't have a reliable backfield.
Who's Davis on? What team?
Tennessee.
Hmm.
He's a receiver.
Mm,
He did have 7 catches for 101 yards in week 1. Kind of projected to have maybe.
I have Hines, Singletary, Robinson, Cook, and Jacobs. You're kind of stacked because you have Hines that's gonna get. Or is it? I wonder if it's PPR. If it's PPR, he has Robinson too. See, if you have Dalvin Cook and Jacobs, you're solid. You're set. And then you have Hines with you. I don't necessarily, it seems to me like he's kind of thin at wide receiver.
yeah,
Why not do it? Why not pull the trigger?
I probably would honestly. Yeah, now that I see who he has.
If barring your wide receivers are kind of thin, I'd do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I would do it. I mean, yeah. Well, standard league.
Even in a standard league, I mean, you should still get, I would say, 15 points on average from him.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'd say maybe like 10 to 13. You got to think, a standard league, your running backs are going to be heavy.
True.
He has
Right.
Dalvin Cook and Jacobs. Those are 2 bruiser runners. They're going to run the ball. Hines is more of a PPR running back, so he's more of kind of a receiving back. I definitely I would do it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great question there.
I just wonder who his receivers are.
Yeah, who are your receivers? That's interesting to see what he has. Let's see. A little update. Cincinnati's 3rd and goal on the Cleveland 9. 52 seconds left.
What's the score?
35-23. So,
Cleveland's up.
yeah.
Oh,
Kind of waiting.
Buzz going around the league. Browns should trade Odell Beckham.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
It's not really a for who question. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw a post. He's had 11 straight games with 100 or less yards. I mean, now the question being, where do you trade him to?
Exactly.
Burrow touchdown pass to Tyler Boyd for 9 yards. So Burrow will end up with 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. So, not a bad night.
No, like I said, I think he's going to be one of those quarterbacks that we're going to continue to see evolve, and he might actually show, signs of greatness. It's still early to see on the Joe Burrow front, but you never know. He might, he's definitely out there. He's playing, that's for sure, and especially to throw. He's 37 for 61 right now. So that kind of tells you something, that they really don't have the running game that you really need to be more balanced.
Yeah, this guy has Hilton, Metcalf, John Brown, and Juju. It's not going to hurt you. Either way you go, it's not going to hurt to drop Sony Michel for Corey Davis. Or even if you keep Tony Michel, it's not going to hurt.
I wonder if he can pick him up without dropping Sony. But even if he doesn't, even if he has to drop him, still wouldn't be a bad trade or a bad pick.
No.
Another thing that did come up was Mohamed Sanu signed with the 49ers.
Ooh. I like that.
Let me
I don't know, who do the 49ers have for the receivers? I don't know off the top of my head.
got me lying on that one right
Oh,
now.
there it is. I had it, then I lost it.
Here we go.
Here you go.
Depth chart.
Starter sit right here. Ronald Jones or Stephon Diggs in a flex position PPR.
Ronald Jones or Stephon Diggs. Probably Diggs, because I do think he's going to get more receptions. Because especially I know in Minnesota, he would get a lot of he did have the big plays, but he got a lot of not really short passes, but like short to medium passes, and he did have a lot of receptions last year, which was good. And he can catch, and he's got some speed, so I would have to say Diggs. Let's see.
He did good last week, Diggs. 8 catches for 86 yards.
That's a solid week.
Yeah. That was against the Jets, too.
So here's my thing. Let's go to Stephen Ridley. Would you sell high? Would you trade Ridley right now? Or would you keep him knowing Matt Ryan is declining?
So right now he's a free agent in our league.
Or Calvin Ridley, not Stephen Ridley.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was like, well, okay, that's a name we haven't talked about, but Calvin Ridley. There's a lot of hype for him coming out of college for sure. Browns win 35-30.
Damn, Chubb had a game.
Yeah, he did. He had a good week 1. 9 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Damn, I should have started Kareem Hunt. Fuck.
Yeah, him and Chubb tore it up that fourth quarter.
24 points for Kareem Hunt, man.
Damn.
But really, it depends on what you need, honestly. If you want to buy high or low, like you mentioned, Matt Ryan is declining.
You think about it. You can, if I'm a Ridley owner, if I'm not really strong at wide receiver, bolster it.
Yeah.
Get you someone that 2 or 3, 2 guys that will put up the same, if not more, numbers. build your depth. I mean, or even the same thing. If I'm strong at receiver, strong at running back. I mean, would you take a Ridley for a Kamara trade?
Let's see.
I mean,
I don't know. I would probably keep Ridley on the bench just because I know last year he did have his flashes. There was a couple games where I think he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns and a bunch of yards, but I think he definitely is one of those sleepers to where he can have his big flashes. So, 1 week if you have a tough matchup, throw him in there and hopefully he performs. But I don't know. It's a toss up with Matt Ryan because we just got to see how he's going to do going forward. I don't know. It's tough, but I probably would keep him though, just for. But then again, if you can trade for him and get a good trade value, then
that's
definitely do that.
Now,
Yeah.
let's kind of switch gears. Go to Cleveland. Look at the running back situation. I told you the other day, Taylor. Like, I wouldn't put all my marbles on Chubb, but Kareem Hunt right now seems to be the one that's showing out better. I mean, do you start out? Do you trade Hunt? Do you trade Chubb? Like, I mean, do you start both of them on the same team?
No, I definitely
No.
wouldn't start both.
You would have paid off this week.
No, yeah, this week would have been massive.
I mean, but that's the thing is, who's the true number one over there?
That's a good question. And I'd almost lean towards Chubb being the number one. But it's almost just based off. You can flip a coin. Either one of them can be a number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just almost who do you favor more?
I think to a point, you look at. Well, I guess this is how I view it. You have Chubb. He's probably like a good 1 down, 2 down back, and then you have Kareem Hunt you can throw in there, every other play. And if you need like 2 or 3 yards, he has the speed to get to the outside, or he can, bust through a gap for a big gain. But probably Chubb is the number one. But like you said, I mean, either of them can easily be the number one. So it's just one of those deals you got to toss up to yourself, be like, but.
Because you look at right here, Kareem Hunt, 86 rushing yards, a touchdown.
Yeah.
He got 2 receptions, 1 touchdown reception, and a 15-yard receiving.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go look at Chubb's numbers. I know he had himself a game, but
124 yards, 2 touchdowns,
124 rushing yards. 1 reception. So it's one of those. I like the running back situation there. I don't like the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to put the points up. I don't necessarily agree if Chubb's going to be the go-to. I mean, that's just that.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's Cleveland's definitely got it in the way of the running back position. But like you said, the rest of the team is kind of mediocre at best, especially with Baker Mayfield at the quarterback position, who just seems to had all the hype when he got drafted, but really hasn't done much in the way of performance.
Agreed.
Well, guys, we are almost approaching 2 hours.
All right.
I can go on for hours. I can go on to football talk.
This was fun though. I haven't done one of these yet. This is my first one, so.
That's awesome.
Fun.
This is the first that I've done of a fantasy football episode, so it's definitely been a lot of fun. Definitely one of those things we can definitely talk about for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Hours. So we have week 2 coming up. So how do you project your team will do? Just to kind of wrap things up here.
I have 3 people as questionable right now, so this is gonna be an
Ooh,
interesting
you got
weekend.
your starting solid 3 questionable too.
Yeah, Cooper, Sutton, and Kittle.
Good luck, buddy.
hmm And
I
then
think
Debo Samuel's on the IR, so
I got Julio and Mike Evans as questionable. I'm not too worried about them. I think they'll be all right. I was contemplating benching T.Y. Hilton for Kareem Hunt.
yeah.
Obviously, we know how Hunt played. Let's hope Ty balls out and at least does 24.2 points. That way he can beat it. I think I have a solid matchup this week. I mean,
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think I've got a pretty solid as well. My only question mark right now is Devontae Parker,
Oh,
who's kind of been kind of injury prone and didn't really do a whole lot as a way of practice this week with that hamstring. But hopefully he might be a game time decision before kickoff. But I'm taking a risk. I'm going to start John Brown after his performance last week. He had 19 points. And of course, 6 receptions, 70 yards for a touchdown. So
who do they play in week 2?
they are playing.
Miami.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely start him.
Yeah. So I've got him starting this week. And hopefully we'll see how he does.
I mean, I think my only issue that you might have is Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
Let's hope Gage does kind of show up for Atlanta. I mean, he had a solid game last week. If he can give you 15, 20 points, then, I mean, you got a solid flex out of that.
Yeah.
I think this week you'll probably see a big game from Gurley and Montgomery. I think that's my opinion. Because Dallas cannot stop the run. Look what, Brown did against them.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how this week shapes out. I did make a change and went with the 49ers defense over the Steelers. So we'll see how that plays out since they are going up against the Jets.
Well, Richard Sherman's out. He's on the IR.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he got placed on the IR either today or yesterday. I think I think Pittsburgh was probably the better bet because they're facing Denver.
Yeah. I'm looking at that now.
Pittsburgh has a front 7. So they stopped Saquon Barkley.
Right.
So and that guy right there will put up at least 20 points a game. No questions asked. So
I'm trying to. I just noticed this. I have 3 defenses.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
I just noticed this right now. I've got the Steelers, 49ers, and Bears defenses. Okay, I gotta make a change because wow.
Yeah, I would probably get rid of Chicago's.
Yeah. Well, to end on a highlight, on a funny note there. Yeah, I got 3 defenses. I just noticed that. Oh, man. All right. Well, guys, man, this has been fun. I know we can do this for probably a couple more hours.
Easily,
sure.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to get with you, get the podcast going up. I mean,
Yeah.
Strictly fantasy one going.
Yeah, we can definitely we can do that. That's for sure. But man, best of luck to you guys this week on your fantasy teams. We'll see how everything plays out. Hopefully we can all come away with the W. But it's fantasy football. We'll see who's going to do some trash talking this weekend.
I mean, I can go ahead and kick it off because I know I'll be bringing the trophy home by the end of the year. So.
Oh, well, yeah. Just
I'm gonna go make a random stupid trade offer to someone and see if we can get some trash talk. So,
Okay.
so
Every night, almost every night, Austin. Every night.
I get on there and I'm like, ooh, this trade looks good. And I realize I'm like, crap, I'm really thin.
Oh.
Let's just see.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on, talking some fantasy football with me. This has been great. Like I said, we can do this for hours, and it's definitely been a lot of fun. We're gonna have to get the rest of the guys in the league to come on, continue the talk throughout the season, and kind of see how everybody does from week to week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Awesome, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed this fantasy football episode of the Rip Griffin Show. Remember, you can catch the show on all the major podcast platforms, whether it be Apple, Google, or Spotify. The podcast is now on Amazon Music. So if you like to listen to that, check out the show on there. And as always, be sure to subscribe to the show and leave me a comment and rate. 5 stars is always much appreciated. That's to do it for this episode, guys. I appreciate it, and always